Good evening, you're watching The Buck Stops Here and I'm Barkha. The big story this evening, a landmark judgment from the Supreme Court that has declared all allocations made for coal since 1993 as illegal. Although the court has so far stopped short of scrapping the allocations, and that could still happen, the court was scathing of the manner in which these allocations have taken place, calling them arbitrary and without transparency. In particular, can the Supreme Court verdict be seen as a stain on the Manmohan Singh legacy? Remember, not just was Manmohan Singh Prime Minister during which the bulk of these coal allocations were done, he was also Coal Minister between 2006 and 2009. That'll be a big debate on the Buck Stops Here tonight. Also, coming up at about 9:30 tonight, we'll be shifting gears to look at our other big story tonight. Amit Shah is in Jammu and Kashmir. Is his mission Kashmir ambitious or audacious?
मैं पूछना चाहता हूं कि जम्मू कश्मीर की रियाया नहीं है क्या? आपके मन में सिर्फ घाटी में जम्मू कश्मीर के लोग बसते हैं? आप ऐसा मानते हैं कि बॉर्डर से जो लोग आए हैं उनके लिए आपका कोई दायित्व नहीं है?
That'll be coming up at 9:30 tonight. Let's get started with our big story this evening. The Supreme Court has called all coal allocations since 1993 illegal and having been done without application of mind or transparency. Who does this indict the most? Is the BJP's attack on the Congress blunted because allocations since 93 have been included, or is this in effect a scathing indictment of the Congress and in particular the legacy of Manmohan Singh, who was not just Prime Minister but also Coal Minister in some of the critical years? Let's introduce our panel this evening. From the Congress, we're joined by Abhishek Singhvi, senior leader of the party, also senior advocate himself, Prashant Bhushan. He's been one of the petitioners in this case. He's also a senior advocate with the Supreme Court. Nalin Kohli is joining us from the BJP, and PC Parak, former coal secretary, who has had a lot to say about this coal scam, and the former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's inability to act against it is also joining us on the program tonight. Abhishek Singhvi, do you at long last accept that this is a huge and formal and official indictment of the Manmohan Singh led UPA? You could turn around and say that the BJP has also been indicted because these are all allocations since 1993. But if you go through the verdict carefully, you will find that the judgment quotes in particular the Attorney General's comments on the third and the fourth phase of coal allocations not matching the minutes of the screening committee meetings, and those took place during the UPA.
Let me be very clear, Barkha, and let me choose my words very pointedly and carefully. Number one, there is no doubt that though it is an indictment, it's an indictment of a process. It's a process from 93 all the way till now. As you have rightly said, and to be very specific, roughly 70 out of the 210 odd decisions or allocations are of the 2004 and prior period, and the balance 130, 140 are for the post 2004-5 period. They straddle both governments, so it's color neutral, politics neutral, government neutral.
Well, not strictly, Abhishek Singhvi, not strictly because one in the UPA, Manmohan Singh was Coal Minister and Prime Minister, and secondly, the Attorney General is quoted as talking about the UPA phase. Yes.
Can I just answer?
Sure.
Now, the government has struck down the whole process.
Yes.
Whether it is the Prime Minister as Coal Minister or a BJP Minister as Coal Minister, and I am saying that everybody must introspect. I am not suggesting that the UPA must not introspect or the Congress and the UPA must not feel culpable as much as must the BJP. But also it's important that the court has been careful, A, to say criminal liability, etc. we are not touching. B, we are not even giving the consequences of our declaration of illegality, because we believe that public interest may require further consideration, whether these should be cancelled, tailored, monitored, etc. So the narrow point I wish to make is, of course it's an indictment of everybody because a process had started in 93, it has been going on. Now nobody can suggest it was something invented for the first time by the Congress. And that's the important point. But everybody must introspect, and we must cure this for the future, because after all the Supreme Court is the Supreme Court. You may have review petitions, you may have curative petitions, but today it stands.
Okay, before I get the BJP in, Prashant Bhushan, do you accept Abhishek Singhvi's argument that this is an indictment of a process, not of a particular government, not of a particular party? This was the same argument that was used in the 2G scam when the Congress argued that this is a debate around policy and processes and not about corruption. Is this also not about corruption? And when it comes to corruption, Prashant Bhushan, is Abhishek Singhvi right in saying that this is not about any one party?
No, he is right about saying that it is not about any one party. But it's certainly a very, very strong indictment of the kind of crony capitalism that has gone on in this country for the last many, many years, and that straddles both the UPA as well as the NDA governments. It's an indictment of the arbitrary, nepotistic and corrupt manner in which largesse involving thousands of crores of public resources, of the national resources of the country were doled out to a few crony capitalists only for extraneous considerations of giving them undue benefits at the cost of the public exchequer. Most of the allocations were made to totally undeserving, ineligible people, people who were close to those in power, people who had connections with those in power, or people who could bribe their way into these getting these kind of allocations. So it's a very severe and stinging indictment of the kind of crony capitalism that this country has seen over the last many years, especially in the natural resources sector.
Prashant Bhushan, would you say that it's a verdict that indicts both parties equally, or would you say that it's actually the Congress that will have to take the brunt of the criticism, also because Manmohan Singh himself held the portfolio of the coal ministry?
Of course, the Congress would have to take the bulk of the criticism because the Congress has been in power for the bulk of the time. Also, most of the allocations have been made during the UPA government's time. Mr. Manmohan Singh was also the coal minister at that time. I mean, everybody regarded him to be financially honest himself.
Yes.
But the point is, there were clearly pressures from his party, there were pressures from the state allies,
yes,
and most of all, there were pressures from these crony capitalists.
And that is
who
something
wanted to
yeah, no, I was just going to say that is something that PC Parak has actually spoken about, that Prime Minister Manmohan Singh himself was in favor of auctions but never actually implemented that policy. But Nalin Kohli, let's just bring you in. You know, would you at least agree with Abhishek Singhvi that this is a moment of introspection for all parties? That the moment you also include the BJP years, the BJP is slightly blunted in its attack of the Congress. Also, don't forget the CAG report also spoke about BJP chief ministers who did not want auctions.
Okay, I think I'll go back to it and start answering each point by point. Let's start from the top. We welcomed what's happened in the Supreme Court. It clears an air of uncertainty, as Piyush Goyal, the Energy and Coal Minister, has mentioned. And now we can move ahead, certainly. So I think that's important. That's the first part. Second is, I think we need to look at the detail before the Congress party can try to link us with that entire process. From 93 to 98, essentially the Congress was in power or supported by them, a party supported by them. Out of the total allocations in the NDA period, about 12.5 took place, about 17 or 18. The majority of them took place to public sector enterprises. So I don't know how plunder of capital has taken place in terms of crony capitalists, and that too when it goes to public sector enterprises. So I think there's a massive difference.
What about
the problem has happened because in the UPA regime.
What about the BJP chief ministers? What about the BJP chief ministers who oppose the auction process?
Let me answer it. If you would just have the patience, if you would hear me out fully, I would come to that, but let me end with that. So recalling what I was saying that the majority happened within the period of the UPA, where the Prime Minister in June 2004 moves to say, there be competitive bidding. In 2004 September, his own Prime Minister's office reverses that decision. For the next 8 years it's kept pending, and people like Mr. Jaiswal, Subodh Kant Sahai and numerous others are able to take the largesse, which is why the Supreme Court rightfully raises the question, which is why the question of crony capitalism is so important. Now let's go to the issue about the BJP chief ministers. The majority, as Mr. Jaiswal accepted on the floor of the parliament, the majority of them said they were in favor of competitive bidding. So I think to try to wash the dirty linen at the BJP doorstep is incorrect.
Okay, I think you made your point. I think you made your point. Before I bring Abhishek Singhvi, PC Parak has been listening patiently. Sir, in your own book, in your memoirs as it were, you actually did make the revelation that Manmohan Singh could have stopped this entire non-transparent process. He was in favor of auctions, but he could not even assert his authority over ministers like Shibu Soren or Dasari Narayan Rao. So how do you see this verdict? Is it in the end a scathing indictment of Manmohan Singh's own legacy?
Well, let me spend a little time on giving a little bit of history of the whole issue.
Yes.
In 2004, when I joined the Ministry of Coal, I recognized it that the government had no authority to make allotment of captive coal blocks, and therefore I proposed that Coal Mine Nationalization Act should be amended to give authority to government to allot coal blocks on the basis of open auction and bidding. I had also, in consultation with Law Department, drafted amendment to the Act, and by November 2004,
yes,
I was ready to implement the auction process if the Cabinet was to approve this system.
Yes.
I also proposed that since making a law will take some time, therefore we may go through a ordinance route, and pending that decision I had kept the screening committee meetings on hold.
Yes.
Now my suggestion that we must go through a ordinance route was rejected. I was told that this matter may go to the Parliament in a normal course, and in the meantime we may carry on with the old process which has been going on since 1993.
Yes.
Now my submission is that the whole issue that we must change the process and create a legal authority for the government was first time thought of in 2004.
Yes.
Prime Minister agreed with this proposal.
Yes.
But from 2004 till 2010, this could not be implemented.
Yes.
Now, note a point that Prime Minister, when he proposed this proposal, he said that please put up a cabinet note. I prepared a cabinet note. By the time cabinet note was ready and it submitted to the minister, Mr. Shibu Soren has come as coal minister. I had very clearly written in the note file that Prime Minister as coal minister approved this proposal. But Mr. Shibu Soren said, no, I am not in agreement with this proposal and we may carry on with the old system.
So Shibu Soren overruled. So are you saying, Mr. Parak, that Shibu Soren was able to overrule Manmohan Singh?
Absolutely, and that's what I have clearly written in my book.
Yes.
And I also brought it to the knowledge of the Prime Minister that these matters which are important for transparency in coal ministry are deliberately being delayed by the MOS and the coal minister.
That's absolutely.
And in spite of that,
yes. Sorry, complete your point.
And in spite of that, Mr. Shibu Soren took that decision.
Can I just bring Abhishek Singhvi in? Abhishek Singhvi, this is really important. I mean, Mr. Parak has said it before, but he explained it very lucidly, the history of how he tried to push through a more transparent process. The reason that the Congress has much more, in a sense, a much greater amount of egg on its face is because PC Parak makes it clear that it was only in 2004 that auctions were discussed for the first time. The Prime Minister agreed. Shibu Soren comes and overrules him. What does that say about the authority of Manmohan Singh yet again? As the same question at the heart of 2G.
Certainly. Well, let's be very frank, Barkha. You have been at pains to kind of allocate illegality. I don't think you can allocate illegality. I must concede that the bulk of the period belongs to the UPA, and
yes,
the numbers also show that the larger number were allotted then, and the larger number has therefore been struck down along with a smaller number.
Yes.
But there are 3 or 4 points to be kept in mind. First of all, the delay between 2004 and 2011-12 also and earlier also is also to a large extent allocable to state governments which vigorously opposed auction.
Yes.
And those state governments include BJP governments. Howsoever the BJP may try to brush it under the carpet or wish it away. I am not saying, I am being very frank, the UPA Congress has much to introspect on the policy.
Yes. Will we?
And I think if we start doing the tutu meme of allocation of blame between BJP and me, neither of us will introspect.
Okay, fair enough.
But to suggest that, but just 1 second more, Barkha, I'll take less than 30 seconds. to suggest that the opposition did not come from the states is wrong, grossly wrong. Number two, yes, I must also frankly concede there were coalition compulsions which must have delayed. Now, when constantly you keep saying Prime Minister or individuals, the Supreme Court has been very careful in keeping all criminal liability of even individuals aside.
I'm not
in
talking
the order
about
itself.
criminal liability.
I'm
talking about political authority. I'm actually talking about political authority.
Certainly.
But Abhishek, I'm not talking about criminal
authority. No, just consider. After all, the proposal also to auction was born for the first time only under a law secretary like Mr. Parekh and a Prime Minister like Manmohan Singh. Don't forget that.
But nothing happened. But
now
nothing
the other
happened.
governments, the BJP also not do it.
Happened.
Well, they
okay,
tried and there were delays. There were delays.
Okay, Nalin Kohli, will you show the same
That's
candor that Abhishek Singhvi is saying? He's saying, I concede the bulk of what went wrong.
Did BJP try to do auctions ever before?
Yes, good question.
Did BJP try to do auctions ever before?
Good question. Nalin Kohli, Abhishek Singhvi saying, give us some credit, at least we thought of the auctions. We didn't implement them, but at least we thought of them.
We are not here. No, we are not here actually to bicker about it, because the decision of the Supreme Court has come. We welcomed it and we want to move ahead and start looking at an environment of, where uncertainty removes and we start putting things back on track. That is what the mandate is for. So, I mean, it's not about political bickering. We are only correcting each other in terms of how it is perceived finally when it is
Please respond to the point about BJP Chief
Of course, there have been one.
Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, the BJP BJD alliance in Odisha, all three opposed auctions. Nalin?
Of course, but would you like to also inform with your research the viewers how many of the Congress states opposed it? I mean, so therefore there were oppositions from a few states, but there were also a majority of states that wanted it. It wasn't only just as if the BJP was opposing it, the majority states wanted it. The reasons are not about the states. The states are an extraneous factor to exactly what happened. The point here is, and you have to allow Mr. Parekh to speak a little more, he will point out that the reasons had to do with the method to go about allocation for getting gain.
Nalin, I'm merely making the point that when we talk about Manmohan Singh, we also have to talk about Raman Singh, who also came under the scrutiny of the CAG. Now, I want to bring in Prashant Bhushan here. Prashant Bhushan, do you believe that the norms...
I'll be happy to speak on that separately.
Okay. Prashant Bhushan, do you believe that the only recourse now left is to scrap all the allocations? Will we see a repeat of what happened in 2G? The court did stop short of that today.
No, they have not. Actually, I think there is a widespread misunderstanding about the purport of this judgment. The judgment very clearly says that all these allocations from 93 onwards are illegal. That means that they stand quashed.
Okay.
If they are illegal, they automatically stand quashed. Now, what is the consequence of that? In my view, it is clear. They have also said that the leases given by the state government were consequent to the allocations made by the central government. Therefore, if the allocations stand quashed, the leases also stand quashed. And now, in my view, the only thing for the court to consider when it convenes on the 1st of September would really be to decide, all right, what would happen to the mined material if some people have done some mining and taken away some
coal,
minerals or coal from there, what should be done about that?
I think
whether some accounting should be made about that, whether coal which is lying mined at the site should be allowed to be taken away by the lessee, whether the mining lease should be considered to be cancelled from the date of the judgment or from its very inception.
I'll just allow Abhishek to come in briefly, then PC Parag gets the last word. Abhishek, go ahead.
Just a small technical clarification. I don't think it makes much difference. It might sound technical to your viewers, but I must make the point. I don't find the word quashed in the order.
But if they're all illegal, if all the allocations are
just one sec, let me complete Barkha.
Okay.
Barkha, let me at least complete, I know a little bit more law than you might give me credit for. Now, there is no, the court has taken care to say no consequence. Now, I actually am agreeing with Prashant Bhushan that in all likelihood, on the next date, because I happened to be in court when Prashant was also in court, although I was there for a different matter. In all likelihood, they will be clarified to have been quashed next week.
Okay.
But I don't think today in the judgment as it stands has been said.
Okay.
In the event that the court decides not to quash it, it is entitled to tailor it partly and say it should continue in the public interest for this, that or the other reason. I think that's the debate which the Chief Justice openly in court said, I want to examine on the next time,
I have
whether public interest requires some salvaging.
Okay.
So I'm just making a technical point. I'm not suggesting that it's not illegal.
Fair enough. Last word to PC Parak. PC Parak, when the history of this coal scam is written, where would you apportion the most blame and to whom?
Well, I will apportion the blame at all the ministers who were coal ministers after 2004.
Which includes Manmohan Singh for 3 years.
Yes.
What do you think Manmohan Singh's biggest fault was in this, Mr. Parak?
No, I think he should not have allowed Mr. Shibu Soren and Dasri Narayan Rao to torpedo what he had decided. He should have insisted that cabinet should take a decision and it should be implemented immediately. I think this point of view that states opposed and therefore it got delayed also is not correct assessment of things, because in my proposal for open auction, we were not making any change in the process of state government's role in this process. State government would still be required to vet every application with reference to credibility of downstream project and veracity of the people who are applying.
Okay.
So we were not making any change in the role of state government. We are not making any change in the role of line ministries, who would still be required to vet and say what is the quantity of coal required for the project.
Very important.
What all I was suggesting.
Yes, sorry.
What all I was suggesting is that after the applications have been vetted by state government and the line ministry, then all those applicants which have been vetted will be allowed to bid in an open auction.
Okay, sir.
So we were just not changing any role of the state government.
Very important point being made by you, that was a fig leaf in a sense. Now all eyes on what the court decides to do with all these allocations. The scrapping almost inevitable, but what will happen to the mine material? Either way, a big stain on the Manmohan Singh legacy, as well as all individuals who have been coal ministers since 1993. Abhishek Singhvi, Nalin Kohli, Prashant Bhush and PC Parak, thank you so much for joining us on the Buck Stops here. Moving on now to our other big story on the Buck Stops here tonight. Amit Shah's ambitious and some would say audacious plan for Jammu and Kashmir. Addressing his first rally as party president in the state today, speaking in Kathua, Amit Shah reiterated the possibility of the BJP emerging as the single largest party in the state. In a clear move to also consolidate the Hindu or at least the Jammu vote, Amit Shah spoke of how if a BJP government came to power, Jammu would not be neglected as it has been for 6 decades.
जो भी सरकार वहां बनी, उसने जम्मू के साथ न्याय नहीं किया, सौतेले बेटे जैसा व्यवहार किया है। आप मानते हैं ऐसा किया है? अगर भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार आएगी, तो जम्मू के साथ न्याय होगा। भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार आते ही सन 47 के, सन 65 के, सन 71 के जो विस्थापित 60 साल से यहां अपने देश में विस्थापित होकर घूम रहे हैं, उनको न्याय दिलाने का काम ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी।
Let's go straight now to our debate on the Buck Stops here this evening. Is the BJP's Mission Kashmir rattling the other mainstream parties in the state, the National Conference, the PDP and the Congress? Are the next elections in Jammu and Kashmir going to be a regional battle between Jammu and Kashmir? Will the BJP succeed in consolidating the Hindu vote and in encouraging Kashmiri Pandits to vote in large numbers? And what impact will all of this have, the long-term impact on the Kashmir issue and the Kashmir conflict itself? Let's introduce our panel this evening. We are joined from Srinagar tonight by Mehboob Beg of the National Conference. Joining us from the PDP is Sameer Kaul, its spokesperson for the party. We're also joined by Salman Soz. He's of course from Kashmir and with the Congress party. Nalin Kohli, leader of the BJP, is joining us. And also joining us from Srinagar is Hina Shafi. Hina has just joined the BJP, and this is going to be an interesting voice as we are now seeing a generation of new faces in politics who are willing to embrace the BJP even in the Kashmir Valley. Let me start with you, Mehboob Beg. How do you see what Amit Shah has said today in Jammu? Amit Shah has promised that Jammu will not be neglected. He's attacked your chief minister for neglecting those who have been victims of border firing. We've seen unruly scenes in the assembly in the context of that as well. The BJP's Mission Kashmir seems to be hurting the regional parties, you know, where it matters.
Barka, BJP as a political party is within its rights.
Yes.
To set an agenda for itself, because the state is poll bound and we are going for elections. Having said that, but as a responsive mainline political party, it is duty bound to honor the sensitivities across the board. And that is what they are not keeping in mind, and that's what they are not doing exactly. Yes, fine enough, they won all the 3 seats, Jammu, Udhampur and Ladakh, in recently held parliamentary election. That's
Yes.
fine enough.
Yes.
But they are creating an impression as if they want to impose BJP on the people of Jammu and Kashmir, which is dangerous. Number
How
one.
can anybody
Number
impose?
two,
How can anybody
when we-
impose a party Beksab in an election? The elections will decide, and whatever way
that's
the
right.
elections decide, it can't be
That's
called an
right.
imposition.
Absolutely, absolutely. But they are trying to do it. They are trying to create an impression. Now, look here. What are they doing?
Yes.
They are talking about Jammu. They are talking about Ladakh. They are talking about Kashmir.
Yes.
And the beauty of Jammu and Kashmir is that we have lived together in spite of belonging to different regions, different cultures, different religions. We have maintained J&K as one unit, which
Yes.
is a beauty. We call it mini India. A unity in diversity. At all costs, that should be maintained.
Okay.
And BJP owes it not only to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, but to the whole country, that this is maintained, and
let me
no
take that-
effort, nothing should be done
Let me
to
Okay, you're saying that there's a larger national consequence to an election in Jammu and Kashmir. It can't be treated like any other election. I think that's what I'm hearing Mehboob say. Nalan Kohli, come in on that. The fact is that Amit Shah has been on record telling party workers that the one election that matters the most to him is Jammu and Kashmir. He said we're winning the others anyway. This is the election that matters. He also said a BJP government in Jammu and Kashmir would send the right signal to the world. Are we to take it that this is going to be a Jammu versus Kashmir Valley election? Is there an aim quite clearly at consolidating the Hindu vote and the Pandit vote? And is that dangerous for Kashmir in the long run?
There are multiple questions here, Barkha, and we should actually segregate each one of them. Otherwise, the answer would create more confusion. So let's go one by one. Yes, Jammu and Kashmir is an important election. I've not heard of Mr. Shah's statement that you are speaking about the Jammu and Kashmir election being the most important. Every election is important for the party, but certainly in terms of how the mandate of 2014 has been, which shows the BJP as a national party, and where we won 3 seats in Jammu and Kashmir. Therefore, it becomes important because always the BJP are opponents, contrary to what we are. Our opponents have always sought to paint us as a divisive force and not a force that represents every part of India.
But Nalan, aren't you reconfirming that image of yourself when Mr. Shah speaks about how if the BJP comes to power, Jammu will not be neglected as it has been for 6 decades? That is positioning it as a Jammu versus Kashmir battle, and that is a subtext for Hindu versus Muslim.
I think,
let's be very blunt.
Well, I'm coming to that. I'll be equally blunt. I have no problems about being it. I think the question has not to be asked of the BJP, but actually to the parties that have ruled Jammu and Kashmir over the last almost 6 decades.
Okay.
The question that has to be asked of them, why is there a sense of neglect in the state? When we talk about minorities and we talk about majority, if we move beyond the subtext of religion, then if we look at about it in terms of population, can we say that Kashmir and Ladakh, in Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh and Jammu regions see the same level of development or the same level of
okay, let me take that to Samir
in
call.
terms of
let me take that to let me take
so
that.
Therefore, just to finish it, one sentence, just a sentence, one sentence, just a sentence. Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish, Samir bhai. So my only point in that is that what we are talking about is not a Hindu-Muslim kind of an angle, which is what is the allegation being made of us. What we are talking about is every citizen of Jammu and Kashmir not having a sense of alienation, which is what the National Conference spokesman was saying.
Okay,
Unity,
fair enough,
diversity,
fair enough. I think Mehboob Beg's got his hand
up.
up. I'll allow him one sentence and then I'll open it up to the others.
Barkha, I want to...
Yes.
I want to straight the record. It is factually wrong. Please, he must come out with the facts. Saying that Jammu has been neglected or Ladakh has been neglected at the cost of Kashmir is totally wrong. Absolutely wrong.
That debate will carry on. That debate will carry on, but there is a perception, Beg Saab, that the political focus of the country has remained on the valley. Has remained on the valley because maybe that's where the trouble is. I mean, there is a reason for it. There is a reason for it. That is where the conflict is. That is where the trouble is. But Samir Kaul, the fact of the matter is that Amit Shah is clearly a very bright political mind. Whatever his critics may say about him, they will have to give him credit for the fact that he's an extremely smart politician. He delivered an astounding victory for the BJP in UP. Is the PDP worried? Is the PDP worried that the BJP on simple electoral mathematics, and here's what the BJP Samir Kaul is calculating. They're counting on the fact that the boycott call that is given by separatists will result in perhaps a low voter turnout in certain seats, as has always been the case. Take Haba Kadal, for example, where the average voter turnout has been 2,000, but the registered migrant vote, including the Pandits, is 24,000. So the BJP can leverage the boycott call by the separatists. It can encourage the Pandits to vote in huge numbers. It can even ally, according to some reports, with a new party like Sajad Loan's People's Conference. Are the mainstream parties worried, Samir Kaul?
Well, at the very outset, let me be very clear, Barkha, that Amit Shah's statement, I'm sure he is a bright mind, and you know, if everyone feels so, then maybe he is. But the only thing that I want to say at the very outset, it sounds more like a wish list. It's not so much of it's a wish list that this is how it's going to happen, and this is how the results are going to pan out, and this is what our strategy is. Not necessarily right, because number one, Kashmiri Pandits, by the way, are a very, very secular lot. And I don't think, being a Kashmiri Pandit myself, let me be very, very, very vocal on the fact that they do not vote only on the basis of religion. So exhorting a community
but they have been disillusioned. They have been disillusioned for all these years. They have been disillusioned. They have not been able to go back home, and they do perhaps lean towards the BJP, which has made their cause more center stage than other parties.
No, but even for the BJP at the moment, they feel it's a lot of talk and no action. If you really ask them, this is what they will tell you. But let me tell another thing. They are pluralistic because that's how they've been brought up in the valley and outside. They are not going. So
you're counting on the fact, Samir Kaul. So you're counting on the fact that there will be no en masse response of the Pandits to the BJP.
And there are two worries that the PDP has. Okay. And they're not linked to the fact that they may be outmaneuvered in the game. It is linked to the fact that the cross-firing on the border, the reigniting of the border, which kills my co-people from Jammu and Kashmir, right from Ranbir Singh Pora to Ladakh, almost on a daily basis, along with a heady mix where a party is appealing to a particular religion to polarize on one side, is a dangerous mix that we are creating, because
but are you blaming the BJP for the ceasefire violations? No, but are you blaming the BJP for the ceasefire violations? No, 1 minute. I don't understand the point about the ceasefire violations. Are you blaming the BJP for them?
The point is, I'm worried about the dangerous mix of disruption of talks, of reigniting of the border, and a political party from amongst us appealing to people to vote on the basis of religion, caste, color, which it's a dangerous mix.
But Amit Shah's,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'll put that to Nalan Kohli. But Amit Shah has not said that in so. There are no words actually, Samir Kaul, that say vote in the name of religion. This is a strategy. This is an interpretation of commentators. But I don't think there's a speech.
This is an attempt to create another Muzaffarnagar Barkha. Allow me to say that.
I'll get Nalan Kohli to respond and then Salman Sood. Nalan, it's only fair I allow you in there. I will set the record straight that Amit Shah's speech today spoke about no neglect for Jammu. It did not talk in terms of Hindus and Muslims. Absolutely. But certainly the people who understand Kashmir are breaking down the numbers, and they are, Nalan, looking at the fact that if Kashmiri Pandits vote in strong numbers for the BJP, and if the local Muslim turnout remains low, it could be advantage BJP. Nalan, go ahead.
Okay, 3 quick points to make. The first is, people for a decade have been making out of what they would expect from Mr. Modi.
Yes.
And what would happen in the elections. So that is an independent exercise. It has nothing to do with what the BJP would like to do. Second is that the BJP is unequivocally talking about development for all. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas is our consistent stand. Our political opponents may not like that, but they are free to also counter us with that, with their allegations. And the third point I'd like to make is that perhaps Samir Kaul, in his enthusiasm to try and cover everything possible under the spectrum so that something perhaps may stick, has covered everything which has no link also to what's happening here, as you correctly pointed out.
Okay, let me take that to Salman Soz. Here's the irony. The Hindu-Muslim talk has actually not come directly from the BJP. It's come from a Congress minister in the government. The Congress minister is now asking Salman Soz why the only Muslim majority state in India can't have a Hindu chief minister. This has not come from the BJP, Mr. Soz. It's come from the Congress. How do you respond?
Anybody from J&K can be the chief minister of J&K. All that person has to do is take all three regions of the state together and make them progress in an equitable way. You know, when Mr. Shah, for example, Mr. Shah is a very bright person, as you said. He's a very wily political operative. We know that. He delivered a handsome victory to the BJP in UP. But this time, after the national elections, we are not going to take them lightly. We're going to fight them every inch. We're going to fight them tooth and nail. When he says that, you know, Jammu has been neglected, you know, there are voices in Kashmir that say Kashmir has been neglected. There are voices in Ladakh which say Ladakh has been neglected. The real issue is who's going to try and help.
But Salman, you opened by saying that anybody can be chief minister of Jammu and Kashmir. Why then was your Congress minister's remark that a Hindu could be a chief minister and that's never happened before? Why was it seen as controversial? Why was it virtually disowned by the party?
No, but look, anybody in any political organization can say anything they want, but the party line is something different, okay? But the fact of the matter is that anybody actually can be.
What's the party line?
The chief minister.
You say the party line is different. What is the party line?
Anybody. The party line is that anybody from Jammu and Kashmir, any citizen can become chief minister, whether it's from Ladakh, from Jammu, from Kashmir, okay? Any minority.
Now what about a religious-based question that he has raised?
Wait. Let me finish. Now, we've learnt that the BJP believes in, you know, they keep talking, they'll have half-truths, misstatements, lies, outright lies. For example, in today's speech, Mr. Amit Shah asked the following question. Why hasn't the chief minister or any of his representatives visited the border areas? Let me tell him that his J&K BJP people have not either read newspapers or have misinformed him. 2 days back, ministers visited border areas, distributed relief. The Minister of State for Home, the Minister of Urban Development.
I'll get Nalin to come in on that, and then Hina Shafi's been waiting very patiently.
These people have to stop lying. They should focus on. They should.
Nalin,
by the way,
Nalin,
the other thing is that the biggest political scandal of the last 6 years involves 7 BJP MLAs. The people of the state are going to ask them very tough questions this time.
Okay, Nalin, very quickly, and then Hina Shafi.
Yeah. Coming from Salman Soz of the Congress party, talking about the ethical standards that we've seen over a decade and about the Prime Minister giving a clean chit and saying nothing wrong has happened in 2G. Fascinating to hear the word lying. I mean, this is a matter of record. If they have visited, good for the people there.
It is a lie.
Their message must have not carried. And if they haven't visited, one minute, Mr. Soz, don't get agitated. It can happen also.
They have.
I'm not
Read
saying.
the newspapers.
I just haven't confirmed it myself.
Read the newspapers.
Mr. Soz, let me make it clear. I'm not going to take this quietly with you just making allegations again. I can certainly go and correct it. I can go and check it. But sitting here on the debate, I have no access to verify whether you are lying or you are incorrect, as I would prefer to call it, or Mr. Shah is talking in a context.
Daily Excel 2 days back.
But you can't just be going here lying.
Okay, all right. No,
it is a lie.
There is no intent.
It is a lie.
When there is no intent, why would you don't use these words?
2 days back.
Let's look at the larger picture. It's not only about whether
that's what I'm saying. This is absolutely.
But
you know, the question that Mr. Soz has still not answered. Yes. It's his party that's saying we want a Hindu chief minister, and you call us communal. I mean, look at this.
Okay, Salman, do you want to quickly respond to that, and then I have to go to Hina.
Okay, look. First of all, please get your facts right. Ask your state unit to help your BJP president make some clear, truthful remarks. Okay, that's the first thing. It's your fault, your party's fault, not our fault. Okay.
What about his question?
Anybody? Let me repeat. Let me repeat. Whether it's a Buddhist, a
Mr.
Christian,
Shah has
a
raised
Sikh,
many
a
questions.
Muslim,
Why don't you answer
a
that?
Pandit,
You're stuck to a
Hindu.
minuscule point.
Anybody can become chief minister. I would be happy to have anybody from J&K, any community.
I want to bring in
religion
Hina
become the
Shafi
chief
now.
minister.
I want to bring in Hina Shafi now. What makes
But
a young
only
person...
only someone from J&K can become a chief minister.
Of course. Hang on.
So,
I think the larger
obvious.
question.
There's nothing
I
much
think the
to speak
larger
about
question
that.
is why, after 6 decades, are we hearing this Hindu-Muslim talk in Kashmir? What used to be a regional kind of set of differences, are they now very clearly becoming religious? I think that's the point that all of us should be a bit concerned about. But Hina Shafi, what makes somebody in the Kashmir Valley today join the BJP? The BJP, while it took 3 seats in the Lok Sabha elections, has never picked up a seat in the Kashmir Valley. You represent Amira Kadal. Your father was with the National Conference. What makes somebody like you, a doctor by training, a Kashmiri Muslim, join the BJP?
The youth, as a youth, I represent Kashmir as a youth, female. We want change, not as any party. Everybody in Kashmir, they want change. Kashmiris are fed up of the political parties going since decades who have been ruling, and on the development ground we see nothing. Now this is the high time for we Kashmiris to suffer and considered as the backward of the country. So my step joining BJP political party, any political party, is just for the development.
But Hina Shafi, will you be able to convince the people in your constituency to trust the BJP, to trust Mr. Modi? Because there has been a general relationship of skepticism. That's the word I would use in the valley. I'm not talking about the other regions, but the electoral results reflect that skepticism over decades.
Definitely, Barkha. People are aware now. People are awake now. It's no more politics going on in Jammu and Kashmir, what used to be decades before, that any political party used to come and rule and create a mess in the state. We can see that change coming up. Youths are showing the change in the parliament elections.
Okay, Salman Soz has a question for you, I think.
Kashmir.
I think Salman Soz has a question for you.
Yeah.
Hina, Salman Soz, go ahead.
Yeah.
You know, we all want change. We all want improvements, and I even would readily admit that not many, there are lots of things that need to be done. But the quality of change, what is the change going to be? If a brother is going to be after kill a brother, is that the kind of change we want? No, we don't want that change.
Salman,
we want all of Jammu and Kashmir to be united.
Excuse me.
And we want development.
No, 1 minute. What is this going? Where is this going?
No.
No, 1 minute. What is this you're talking about? 32% of Jammu and Kashmir. No, I mean, I take offense to this.
National Conference of Congress.
No, I take offense to this.
We have seen the development since decades through them.
Okay. That's the
We want the
agenda.
change. We don't.
No, absolutely. I take
We
offense.
all want
No,
change.
I want to bring this absolutely.
Let Hina Shafi complete her thought.
Barkha, I want to make a point.
Nalin, after your colleague from the BJP makes her point. Hina Shafi, go ahead.
Sure.
I want to tell Mr. Soz that we want change. We have since seen decades, National Conference, Congress, PDP coming in power, and there has not been any kind of a development. Unfortunately, after decades, we have just got the traffic signals. This is the development they're going to show.
Okay.
We want change. We want better.
Okay.
We want development.
Nalin
So
Kohli,
BJP is doing it when.
Okay, I've got your
In
point.
other parts
I
of
want
the
to
country,
answer that.
why not Jammu Kashmir?
Let's take it forward. Nalin Kohli, there are reports coming from the Kashmir Valley that the BJP has been in talks with Sajad Lone of the People's Conference, someone who's been a separatist voice. Now, on the one hand, your party, your government has called off talks with Pakistan because the Pakistan High Commissioner met with separatists. Is the BJP today saying that it would be willing to align with a party like Sajad Lone's People's Conference, or maybe even with the PDP, as some have suggested?
See, I will not speculate on anything at all, because I mean that would be something in your domain, Barkha, as a journalist or as someone who'd like to analyze
So as a journalist, I'm telling you that there are reports that the BJP has had these meetings with Sajad Lone.
Okay. But there have been many reports about many things that haven't been correct also. So that's why I said I won't speculate on it till there is a situation which demands an explanation or a comment. The second point I want to say is Mr. Soz forgets that 32% of the state of Jammu and Kashmir voted for the BJP, whereas the National Conference got 10% and the PDP was the number 2 party, the Congress 3. People of Jammu and Kashmir somehow are not going to be taken in by all these dialogues literally dialogues from old times. What they want is visible work. And if you haven't worked, the people will reject you.
Okay, one sentence from Salman Soz, then Sameer Kaul. Salman, just one sentence. I've got to move on.
I only want to say this to Mr. Kohli. Look at the bipoll results. Look at the bipoll results from today and see what's happening in the states. Your party is losing and you will lose in Jammu and Kashmir. Mark my words. Just tape this thing.
Let me answer that.
Keep the video.
Okay.
You will not make it in J&K.
Well, there's no way to know this till results are in of these elections in November. Sameer Kaul and Mehboob Beg.
Well, the world does run on hope, doesn't it?
Okay, let Sameer Kaul and Mehboob Beg. Sameer Kaul, to you first. Would the PDP, widely considered to be on the upswing in the valley at least, would the PDP be open to an engagement with the BJP, a formal engagement?
I don't think this is the time to comment on that because I don't know. And it's only after the elections are through. If that's what the people want, that's what will happen, and it'll be entirely up to the people. Yeah. But there's just only one thing that I'd like to remind the BJP that the most widely recognized scandal in the Legislative Assembly, where 7 of its MLAs cross-voted against the party whip by accepting money, is known to everybody. So when I hear people on national television talking about ethics and BJP, I'm a little bit skeptical.
I'll let Hina Shafi respond to that, the issue of the BJP MLAs.
But of course, they were expelled from the party.
Barkha, don't forget me.
Yeah, I won't forget you, Mehboob Beg. I'm coming to you in just a second. Hina Shafi, do you want to come in there?
Yeah, it is like, as they said, it has been ages and people have proved the other parties that they have been corrupt themselves. So they are, putting a charge on BJP that they are corrupt and they'll stop them going to and contesting in the Kashmir Valley. I think they're wrong. Mr. Samiz is wrong there. So if they're coming up with the positive efforts to Jammu Kashmir, so nobody can stop them.
Okay, let me get Mehboob Beg in.
It is the people's choice.
Let me get Mehboob Beg in. Mehboob Beg, when you hear a Congress minister in your government talk about a Hindu chief minister for Jammu and Kashmir, how do you respond?
No, Barkha, there is no question. This is very unfortunate because they want to
what is unfortunate? What part is unfortunate?
That they should be even saying this. They have been accusing BJP of the same thing. Now they are doing the same thing again. Because elections in our state and in our country, they have nothing to do with religion, region, caste, color. We don't fight, and especially in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Barkha, I just wanted to make one point here. When Prime Minister Modi took over, he began very well. He invited and gave a pleasant surprise to one and all by inviting all SAARC leaders, including Prime Minister of Pakistan.
Yes.
He had a chat with him, and it was to be followed by Foreign Secretary talks.
Yes.
That is their problem. I think Prime Minister Modi is caught between his own, he has become a prisoner of his own roots, RSS roots,
yes,
and a man who wants to develop and who wants to move the country forward. I think he has to come out of it. He can't be seen on both.
So you're saying he's trapped in a dualism. I'll allow Nalin to respond to that briefly and then Salman Soz. Yeah, okay, Nalin, go ahead.
Well, I mean, very briefly, I think it is unfortunate that Mr. Beg is lost in some kind of roots that has to do with separatist mindsets. Otherwise, this statement would never have come from him.
Which part of what he said talks about separatism?
No, he is caught between RSS roots.
Straight away. I mean, what did he call off the talks on?
And a progressive leader.
What are the talks? 1 minute. I'll say, in terms of
what?
In terms of the withdrawal of talks, because the government of Pakistan prefers to engage with separatists who have, by the way, have the separatists ever contested elections there? Have they got any faith in the democratic process? Because they obviously understand that the party is there.
LK Advani is deputy. LK Advani, 1 minute. LK Advani is deputy Prime Minister. Nalin Kohli met with the Hurriyat conference. So you could make a valid point in saying it's different. If Delhi engages, there are citizens. You could draw that distinction.
No, you're confusing.
Yeah.
I'll justify that.
Yes.
I'll justify that.
Yeah.
Because very simply put, what you need to understand is that even the Pakistani High Commissioner, if he visits Jammu and Kashmir, there is no restriction on him to meet anyone. The question is here, he invited them on the eve of the talks to take their views about the
last
talks,
comments now,
which was against the advice of Government of India.
Mehboob Beg, complete your point, then Salman Soz.
Barkha, this has happened. This has not happened for the first time. He is forgetting. This has happened during NDA regime.
No, that's true. But Mr. Modi, Mr. Modi has the right to set his own terms. But Mr. Modi has the right, Mehboob Beg, to set his own red lines. Mehboob Beg, it may have happened before, but as the Prime Minister has the right to draw new red lines.
Barkha, absolutely right. Absolutely right. But he is neither here nor there. That's what I am trying to tell you.
Okay.
Sometimes he rushes and he goes all out for talks and then suddenly withdraws.
No. Well, I mean, we have heard for the last so many years about the return of Kashmiri Pandits. Has one person returned?
Quick last
words.
Has one
person returned to the valley under your government?
Okay, 1 minute. Quick last words.
Yeah, they have.
No, Mr.
You won't allow them, but they have.
No, the record of Pandits returning is dismal.
We won't allow them. We are the ones here who have been speaking about the need of them not to be refugees in their own country.
You're
all speaking together. Salman Soz,
this will help you.
1 minute. Salman Soz, respond quickly. Sorry, Beg Sahab, I'm interrupting you. I'm at the end. Salman Soz, respond quickly to Mehboob Beg saying, when the Congress minister made that comment of a Hindu chief minister for Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, he was being what you accuse the BJP of doing. That's what Mehboob Beg is saying.
The Congress party will never ever be like the BJP.
So do you back your minister? Do you back your minister? Do you stand by your minister? Do you stand by your minister?
I just want to say.
Do you stand by your minister?
Anybody. No, if the minister says the next chief minister should be only a Hindu, that is wrong. Anybody, even a Hindu can become chief minister, that is right.
Okay.
Now, the second point is one quick point. One quick point.
A quick comment.
On Mr. Kohli,
I have to end.
Kohli, please. If you don't want talks with Pakistan, that is fine. But at least protect our citizens at the border. They're getting killed. What are you doing about them? Are you going to take some punitive action that would stop the fire?
Okay, 30 seconds, Nalin Kohli, and then Sameer Kaul. Okay, 1 minute. Sameer Kaul, 1 minute, Nalin. I'll give you.
They can't stop talks. They have to continue with talks.
Okay.
No, you can't stop talking. You have to talk.
I have to end, so I'm going to end. I have to end. I have to end.
Even then we have to talk.
Mehboob Beg, I'll have to interrupt you. I'm going to give 30 seconds each to Sameer Kaul and Nalin Kohli. Sameer Kaul, let's start with you. When you hear Salman Soz saying anybody can be Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, do you agree with him? How do you respond to the Congress minister's statement?
Well, of course. Why can't they be? As long as you follow proper constitutional standards and you vote for the... I mean, what is this talk about whether a Hindu can be or a Muslim can be? Why are we talking in terms of religion? Although you may want to call my remark a little bit idealistic and utopian, but that's what my party believes in. If you come through constitutional methods and you get elected, how does it matter whether you are a Hindu or a Muslim?
Okay, Nalin, I've got 15 seconds left on the show. Nalin, 15 seconds for you. Is the Pakistan policy floundering?
30.
That's the question from the Congress.
Well, I mean, I'm just going to simply say dynastic-based politics have a rather limited view of looking at the world because they only do what the dynasty commands. And I think if they are talking about talks with Pakistan, the question to be answered is talk with whom? Even the Prime Minister there is probably running away talks from his own opposition.
Okay, so we leave it there.
I think if you're so concerned about it, where are we heading? We need to look at that first.
What's clear is it's going to be a really interesting and unpredictable election in November this time. We hope it will be a safe one and we hope that people will vote in large numbers. Those are the issues that really matter in a sensitive state like Jammu and Kashmir. Nalin Kohli, Hina Shafi, Sameer Kaul, Mehboob Beg, Salman Soz. Thanks so much for joining us on the Buck Stops here. And that brings us to the end of the program tonight from the entire team. Good night and thanks for watching.